and welcome to the last Advent Calendar episode of this year's Ekonomernas Dagar with me, Sanna, and Tove. For this episode, we'll be decorating Christmas bulbs and taste Hågens Choco Caramel Gifflar.
And today's guest is Alexandra Pernebjörk from Plan International, who will join us through Zoom. So welcome, Alex, specialist at Plan.
Thank you. So we're going to start, as always, with some Christmas questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Alright, so Kalle Anka or Karl-Bertil Johanssons julafton?
Kalle Anka.
Raisins or almonds in your glögg?
Almonds, always. Allergic to raisins.
Oh.
Meatballs or sill?
See.
Okay, great.
Now, before we're going to real questions, we're going to present our Christmas activity this time. And we're going to make Christmas bulbs from Frozen. And yeah, so we're just going to sit here and make some. We have a lot of different glue and stuff and these bulbs here that we're going to decorate. But yeah, let's get into the questions.
Yeah, so Alex, how and when did the Plan International start? And what's the story behind it?
So Plan International was founded 80 years ago with the mission to promote and protect children's rights. And today we're a global organization that is active in over 75 countries to advance children's rights and equality for girls. It was originally set up by a British journalist and a refugee worker to support children who were affected by the Spanish Civil War. And since then, a lot of things have changed, and we have expanded our work to now work up to the age of 24, so children, adolescents, and young people, with a particular focus on girls, because we see that they often fall between the cracks in both development and humanitarian contexts. And in Sweden, we've been active since the late 90s, and starting as a sort of a smaller organization relying heavily on a sponsorship model where individual Swedes could contribute on a monthly basis to our work, and now we are one of the big NGOs to receive development funding from SIDA and EU and other major donors.
Yeah, alright. And what made you interested in this organization, and how did you hear about it for the first time?
So I had a former colleague who had joined Plan, and when I was in Sierra Leone to do a field study on adolescent pregnancies among girls during the Ebola crisis, I reached out to her for some resources that I'd come across on the topic, and it turned out that Plan really was focusing on the areas that I was specializing in during my master's degree, gender and girls' rights, sexual and reproductive health, such as preventing unintended pregnancies, access to contraception, comprehensive sexuality education, and tackling gender-based violence. So it felt like a good fit.
Just curious, where did you study?
I did a bachelor's in political science and development in Uppsala, and then I did a master's in Lund.
Alright.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
So not as soon.
No.
So how long have you been at Plan, and what's your best memory from your job?
So I've been with Plan now for 4 years, and it's really hard to say what the best memory is, but it's definitely one of the many times when I've had when I've been working with colleagues in the field, so deployed to our program countries, and there's only so much understanding and support you can provide remotely. So being there on the ground and sort of seeing the impact and having conversations with adolescents and young people is by far the best part of my work. If I have to choose one specific memory, probably around this time, actually almost to the day, exactly a year ago, I was in northern Uganda working with my colleagues in the refugee settlements towards the border to South Sudan. And there's this awesome girl named Sophia, who is 20 now, she's 19 at the time, who really sort of walked me through their activities that they're doing in our programs and showing us the really cool and innovative ways that they are tackling issues in their communities, spreading awareness through music and arts and drama and dancing, while at the same time sort of trying to challenge decision makers and traditional leaders and community members to stop with harmful practices such as child marriage and to sort of combat the alarming rates of sexual violence in the camps. So people like that really make it worthwhile. And you can see a video of her staying on YouTube from last year's Musikhjälpen, which is kick-ass.
We can link that in the description. That's really cool.
Yeah. And how do you believe that Plan International contributes to a better society?
So Plan International is a huge organization globally with some 10,000 staff, but our country offices in Latin America, Africa, Middle East and Asia have long-standing presence and really tight relationships with the communities we work in. So our staff is primarily hired nationally, meaning that our offices are made up by colleagues who work to transform their own communities. And we work to support children, adolescents and young people by working directly with them, providing them with opportunities to grow and learn and decide over their own bodies and lives. But to do so, we also have to work with their parents and their families and caregivers and community members, traditional leaders and religious leaders, to really transform norms and tackle discrimination. And as an organization, we also work with service providers from schools, health clinics, protection services, etc., to ensure that they can access what they need in the communities, and also trying to influence governments and decision makers at sort of national and policy level to walk the talk and expand the rights of children and young people, and really put their money where their mouths are and pay for it also, because policies don't come alive unless they're adequately resourced in state budgets and programs at national level. So it's about this working from the grassroots all the way up to the very top, sort of influencing global initiatives like in global forums like the UN or EU or African Union and other policy fora. And one of the things I think make us stand out, in addition to doing this like working across this spectrum of actors, is that we as an organization are really committed to partner with young people so that they can lead the change they want to see for their communities and for themselves, and to listen to their work. I think there's a lot of changes happening in the development sector and humanitarian sector, and more organizations are realizing that we have to renew ourselves and step up and do that better. Lots have happened in the last 80 years. Lots of progress have been made, and lots of new roadblocks have come up. And this year really has presented some new challenges and also opportunities to do that. The Black Lives Matter movement is one thing, which has led to a very useful reality check for how organizations like Plan and others can walk the talk to combat systemic racism and challenge our sort of colonial past. But also the COVID pandemic, where we have been pushed to reform a little bit and find new ways of working in all countries, not just here in Europe and the global north. So
yeah, I was actually going to ask you, how do you feel like has your work changed, or how different do you work now with the pandemic going on? Has it changed anything?
It's changed massively. I think that many organizations like PAN have had to realize that the way we used to do things maybe isn't going to work. It's not going to work now with societies and schools being closed, but also in the future we need to find new innovative ways, use digital solutions more, really change things. But what we see with the COVID pandemic is also that it's not primarily girls and young people who are suffering from the disease, but there are ripple effects from the pandemic that really risks a lot of progress that we've seen for girls' rights over the past decades. So some countries are introducing new laws to allow child marriage again. Girls are suffering from violence at home and intimate partner violence more because they can't go to school. And a girl who leaves school is rarely coming back to school. So it's really both a pressing time, we need to step up, and we need to do it in a new way that we weren't used to before.
So what are you currently working on?
So right now I'm working a lot with our colleagues in the Sahel in West Africa, where the crisis is deteriorating. We have food insecurity coupled with conflicts and COVID-19, so I'm working with them on developing their emergency response plans right now, specifically how they can support girls' sexual and reproductive health during their response, so access to contraception and services, for example. And I'm also working to develop a really interesting global program package on how we can meet girls' menstrual health and hygiene needs in the acute phase of the crisis. So how do we work to distribute, for example, menstrual products like pads or cups or tampons, but also how do we tackle taboo and stigma around menstruation in contexts where needs are really high and focus is on the life saving. That we know that menstruation is something that keeps girls restricted and shouldn't be forgotten.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah. And how can people like us contribute to your work?
So you can contribute to our work through Plan Sweden's, it's called a sponsorship model, but it's basically becoming a monthly donor to us. So if you go to our website, you can read more about how you can become a monthly contributor or sponsor to our work. There's also a gift shop, so you could buy a present for somebody for Christmas or for the holidays if you'd like. For example, sending a girl to school or a girl power box. So there are various ways, and you can also follow us on social media to learn more about when there are new opportunities on how to support.
Great. But yeah, thank you so much for being here with us and talking about your great and very important work that you do. We want to know everything and more, but we don't have time, unfortunately. But it's very, very interesting.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining. And we're wishing you a happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So make sure to check out the Plan International's work and what they do on their website and on their social media. And from something serious to something less serious, this is how our
amazing bubbles turned out. Like, I think
Sanna's is upside down.
What? How? That's crazy.
Yeah,
but,
very cute.
I was very concentrated during the.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, but now it's time to try out the gifflar, the yummiest part of the calendar. So today is choco caramel.
I've actually never heard of this taste before.
It's new to us.
It's very new. I think it's new for Pågen as well.
Yeah.
So let's taste it.
Yeah.
Oh. That's very interesting. That's actually such a great combination.
Yeah. Good job, Pågen.
Yeah, as always.
Okay, rating.
Rating. I'll give it a 4.
No.
It's a 4.
I also think it's a 4. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we've tasted and rated this last taste of gifflar, we have to, of course, announce the winner. We've been rating all of them. We've been tasting saffron, we've been tasting gingerbread and sugar caramel.
And lussekatt.
And now we have to announce the winner, which is...
Saffron!
Whoa!
Woo!
And yeah, it's a worthy winner.
This was my favorite.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you Pågen so much for sponsoring our advent calendar this year.
Yeah. And I mean, it's crazy that this is the series is almost over. This is the last episode. And we had really fun making this, and we had really amazing guests along the way as well.
So we really hope you enjoyed our advent calendar.
And stay tuned for next year's upcoming updates by following us on social media.
Yeah. So thank you Plan International for joining us today, and thank you everyone for watching. And since it's only 4 days until Christmas, we wish you a very
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. Bye.
Bye.